on June 25th at 7:30 p.m. Ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week. They confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, you know Milwaukee's going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This weekend, June, sick. Didn't love it, but we're back in the mix for the NBA Finals tonight with the opportunity to crown a champion. The Oklahoma City Thunder up 3-2 in this series. Enter tonight as a 6-point road favorite against the Indiana Pacers, a 222.5 listed total. The Thunder, whether they win tonight, will remain still considerable favorites to win this series. Minus 2,500 is the number right now on OKC to win. One of the reasons that number is so big, and one of the things that will make tonight's game so tricky to bet, is the Tyrese Halliburton injury. An injury that absolutely impacted his play in game number 5. Tyrese did not make a shot. He did not score. He did not score in the first half of that game. Finished with 4 points, did chip in 7 rebounds and 6 assists. For the Pacers to have a chance, they obviously need more from their superstar. We have questions about, will he play in this basketball game? Here is what Tyrese Halliburton said about his availability and potentially going in tonight's elimination game.
Tyrese, obviously you want to play. Everybody always wants to play. And it is the finals, which only makes you want to play more. How smart do you have to be, I guess, in this situation? Or are you not even thinking in those terms at this point?
Well, I think it depends on who you ask. I mean, you're asking me, so I think I have to be as smart as I want to be. I have to understand the risks, ask the right questions. But I'm a competitor. I want to play. I'm going to do everything in my power to play. And that's just what it is. But, I mean, I think the answer to that is dependent on who you ask.
I think the response there from Tyrese is it's honest, right? I think it kind of gives us an idea that not everyone wants Tyrese to play tonight. And I think I know for myself, it'll probably have some moments tonight, I hope not, but at least in the early goings of the game, of uncomfortability. hoping that Tyrese doesn't leave this game with a bigger injury than what he enters with. Because the last thing for the Pacers that they could possibly have ending this season is losing Tyrese Halliburton for a portion of next season, if not more than that. And the reality for the Pacers and what makes this all so difficult is with Tyrese or not, they won't be favored tonight. Even if they win, of course, tonight, they still would have to win again in Oklahoma City, which has proven to be almost impossible so far in this postseason. I know as I have been wondering how I would approach this game, I knew that if Tyrese Halliburton missed this game, if he does, maybe still we get the surprise that he doesn't go tonight, I will be in on the Pacers. Give me the absolute best of the number. Give me a discounted team total, a spread that I believe with an absent Halliburton could push closer to double digits, because we've seen this throughout the NBA for, I know, at least a couple of years, maybe longer than that. When a team misses their star, there's that one game everybody steps up, and there can be that lack of focus from the team on the other side. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, of course, the MVP of this Thunder team, spoke a little bit about the importance for OKC staying focused, staying locked in with the chance to win a championship on the line.
Accomplishments. You're a win away from putting the finishing touches on a season that's like in the special category historically. How do you wrap your mind around that?
Focusing on Game 6, focusing on like just being the best version of myself for this basketball team, for whatever it takes, like for however many games there is, for however many possessions is needed, for however many moments. Like ultimately, I'm just trying to stay in the moment. I think that's what's gotten me here. That's what's helped me achieve the MVP award, achieve all the things that I've achieved, and I helped this team win basketball games. So trying to stick to that script and just focus on winning basketball games.
I believe that Shai will be locked in and ready from the word go. It's going to be almost impossible, Halliburton or not, for OKC to match the energy of the Indiana Pacers from the word go. And that fact influenced what is my best bet for this game tonight. Because I thought back to when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander started this series. It was game number 1 of the finals. He took double-digit shots in that first quarter because he kind of had to settle everyone in. There's a gap tonight that you rarely see between two of the top sports books out there, DraftKings and FanDuel, on SGA's first quarter points that I couldn't pass up on. SGA over 6.5 first quarter points on FanDuel, minus 128. I know it's a number he's missed in multiple games in a row now, and I know that this is a dropping number with SGA getting subbed out at points in the opening quarter. I think those can be moving. I think that that can be a moving threshold, though. I wouldn't be surprised if he played the full 12. He also can score 7 points in 8 minutes, if that's what it ultimately tallies to. The number on DraftKings, while it doesn't have an over-under, for 11-plus points is minus 130. To get to 7, which is what this number is, we're paying minus 128 for. Minus 575 over on DK. You really can't argue with that type of value. So SGA over those first quarter points is going to be my best bet for this game tonight. There's a couple of other areas that I wanted to attack, but you'll notice both Chris and Sam in the back playing some action on the Major League Baseball board. Rays first 5-team total, 2.5 plus 110 for Casino Chris. And then the Astros and the A's over the 10.5 minus 102. Don't mind that look at all. We've seen just the way runs come in bunches this season in Sacramento, of course, where the A's now play their home games. For me, with Indiana and OKC tonight, it's still a game I'm ultimately approaching with some caution, but I thought there were some other spots to try and take advantage of. I am going to play Shai over 1.5 made threes, minus 106. 4 straight games without a made three, including last game not hitting a three at all. Without 2 made threes, 4 straight games. Last game was the first time he didn't hit a three on the road. maybe an uptick in volume. I'll take a chance that Shea hits 2. J-Dub, over 10.5 rebounds plus assists. This one's even money. He's landed on 10 in 4 games in this series. Just a decent chance that he can break through here tonight, getting the best price you've been able to get all series long on that Jalen Williams number. And then lastly, and this is an important one, Benedict Mathurin over 11.5 points plus 106. If Halliburton plays or not, I don't envision it's 35 minutes. Benedict Mathurin is going to see an uptick in minutes. You go back to a stretch of basketball in March where Halliburton was out. Mathurin was inserted into that starting lineup. Was averaging 20 plus a night. And I'm not playing these crazy alts because we don't need it. I think he pushes to 20 minutes tonight, Mathurin, because I think they need him for about 20 minutes tonight. I think that will make the difference for this basketball team, who I think now being held under 110 in consecutive games for the first time all postseason, going back home, has very legitimate chances to get through that number. I think in order for them to get through that number, though, they'll need guys like Benedict Mathurin to step up. So an 11.5 at a plus price as well, plus 106, I think is worth your action there. That's where I'm at right now. Also, for those looking for the, chalkier parlays, I did play SGA and J-Dub, each for 4 assists and each for 4 rebounds with a boost, I think, around plus 175 or so. My BATR buddy, Tom Vecchio, stops by as we continue to break down the NBA Finals next year on SportsGrid.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling
Finally.
Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things can change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions live with you on a Thursday night. We're joined by Tom Vecchio to help us break down the NBA Finals. And Tom, look, I appreciate you making some time here. What are you making of the Tyrese Halliburton situation, and is it impacting how you're betting this basketball game?
Well, first off, thanks for having me. And it does impact things in a variety of ways. And this is something that we've talked about where, and you specifically about Halliburton, when you're talking about the impact that Halliburton has when you see like, okay, he's their star player, but he's not scoring 25, 30 points on a consistent basis, he impacts the game in other ways, right? Like he is the engine of the offense, even though it's not always through scoring. So if he's not at 100% in terms of his quickness because of the calf, can he still operate the offense in a 85 to 90% capacity, even though he's not at full, like, will his passes be sharp? It's like, that's what I go to. Like, okay, he doesn't have to score, but can he do everything else like at a high level? Because that's what I'd be most concerned about. Now, if that's not happening, I expect Nembhard to come in and kind of really play that role of like, hey, we need to get this thing going. We're down by 10 points. You have to be the guy tonight. So I did talk about Nembhard over 10.5 points this morning on the early line with Joe and Donnie, and it's moved up to 11 now. You're getting plus money at it. But I think it could come down to what Halliburton does without scoring, and then are they really just going to attack him defensively?
Yeah, they probably will, and it's probably, I mean, they kind of want to attack him regardless already, right?
Right.
And now, and to, you get into the weeds of it all, one of the reasons now you want to attack Halliburton isn't just, he won't be able to defend as well on the injured calf. It's just make him do more. The more he has to do, again, unfortunately, right, it kind of, I don't know if it sounds mean, but like, the less likely the calf is going to hold up if he's constantly working on it. That's just the reality of it, which is, by the way, for me, Tom, and I don't know about you, I'm not saying I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think it's 100% guarantee that Tyrese Halliburton plays in this basketball game. If I remember correctly, when he was held out of the conference finals last year against Boston, that was considered quite the surprise.
It's true. I'd have to go back and like actually find just like the articles that were posted, a year plus at this point about what actually happened, why he was held out. Because like saying he needs an MRI and then they're going to see how it goes. And like, what was the quote say? They're like, oh, he's going to give it his best go or he intends to play, where like something to that effect. It's like, listen, it is the NBA finals. You are up against elimination. There's no intending to play. You're either going to play or you're not going to play. And we've seen this at times. Matthew Chuck 3 years ago when they played Vegas, like he was out there and at a certain point he was a detriment on the ice. So if you were going to be a net negative, which could be for Halliburton, it's like, listen, you're going to give it a go for the first 5 minutes. If you can't do it, you're just going to sit the rest of the game. So there is some like, hey, do we take all unders on Halliburton? Because if he goes out there for 5 minutes and he literally can't give it a go, you cash all your bets. But it also means of like, what happens if he's okay? And what happens if the Pacers do have a shot in this game? Where would the scoring be coming from?
Yeah, that's the frustrating thing for me. You're on the OKC side in this game, right? I could tell you, and I don't know if you would agree, but let's put it like this, Tom. If they do rule Halliburton out, what do you think this number closes at?
It goes from 6 to, I assume it would get up to 7.5. I assume there'd be at least some market resistance to keep it lower than 8 or 8.5.
Yeah, I mentioned 8 or 9, and I do not think this line believes Halliburton is missing the game. And I think there's people already interested in betting OKC. I think they would want to bet them even more if you end up with the star player in Halliburton out. But I also know that I would be interested in whether it would be Pacers +8 or more likely like Indiana over 105.5, Tom, without Halliburton would be something that would be right up my alley if he were to miss this game. And what's frustrating is I'm not getting that number. I'm not getting enough of a discount, I feel, in the market right now for a player. Even if he plays 35 minutes, we know he's not 100%.
Yeah, it's so you'd want the team total before you'd want a player prop, because in my mind, I would say if Indiana has a shot in this, Siakam, his number is where it is. And if we're talking about exceeding that number, like, sure, he's going to get to 20, 25, whatever it might be. But again, I would go back to Nembhard. Taking a shot on him, again, it's 11.5 points now, but 15 plus points from Nembhard is plus 240, and 20 points from Nembhard is plus 870. Now, 20 points is a significant jump, going from 10.5, 11 up to 20, but 15 points at plus 240. Hey, like, we got to score. So I know you were talking about Mathurin right before I came on. Like, like to each his own. It's like whether there's going to be Neesmith. Again, Siakam's number, it's not like he's going to go from 20 up to 40, so there's not a whole lot of room to ladder it up. But in theory, I don't mind a Neesmith play or a Nembhard play, which would be my favorite.
Well, and let me get the specifics on this quickly for Mathurin, because so he played 7 games without Tyrese. He averaged, Tom, 21 a game in those games, scored 19 or more in 6 of the 7, 20 or more in 5 of the 7, had a 30-point game. Because here's the other thing. I know we're spending a lot of time.
Do you know the starting lineup by chance? Do you know, was he in the starting lineup in those games?
Yes, and I think he would start.
Okay.
I think he would start. I don't think they'd start McConnell. I think that is a misconception maybe some people would have out there. I don't think they would. So that, to me, look, I understand that some people might be like, hey, that's not going to happen. One, we have extended time here tonight, so we have time to talk these things through. If he's out while everyone else is scrambling, we're kind of covering our bases here, Tom.
It's true. And what does this remind me of? I want to say maybe what was it, 2 years ago, that Mahomes with the ankle? It's like, oh, what if he doesn't play? It's like, oh, he's going to play. It's like, what? Hang, we actually have to figure this out, because if he doesn't play, this number is going to jump. And we see this time and time again in the NFL, whether it be quarterback, maybe not so much a running back, when McCaffrey is ruled out week 1, but it's like, if he doesn't play, like, we need to know where the line's going to move, and then plus what the offense is going to look like, what's the game plan, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Let's get into the player prop market a little bit more with Tom. The OKC starting lineup we've seen shift back to the double bigs. We've seen them win with the double bigs. We've seen effectiveness, though, potentially be a little more up and down with those two players. We'll discuss that after this quick break. We're live with you here on SportsGrid.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way, and now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So the double big lineups for Oklahoma City are back in the mix, and it's led to results in the win column. But the box scores, Tom, a little up and down. Chet Holmgren me down in game number 5, where if you would have told me 34 minutes, 15 attempts, double-digit rebounds, I'm playing that points and rebounds every time. Didn't get there. You're going to attack Isaiah Hartenstein, though, in this game. So tell the people a little bit what you're looking for on that side of the double big pairing.
Yeah, he's playing a solid role, but that role does not involve scoring. So I'm playing him under 5.5 points. And just to be clear, I'm using the FanDuel boost to get it to plus 107. I would not do this laying money, just so we're 100% clear about this. So it's plus 107 with the boost. That's where I'm playing under 5.5 points. Listen, it is a super low line. People don't like to take these low lines. Like, he could literally get there within 6 minutes of game time, right? And it could be a sweat, which I understand why people don't like taking the numbers, but he's not taking field goal attempts. That's what it comes down to. Seeing 2-3 field goal attempts, literally, basically this entire series. He's making one of them. He's not their scoring option. I think he's done a really solid job at his role, especially when it comes to offensive rebounding, or even we've seen a couple of times where he's like smacked the ball instead of actually grabbing and smacked it back out to a player at the 3-point line. Him being a low to high passing option, I think, is a really interesting role that he plays, and it's just not scoring. Listen, there are at minimum on the court with him, SGA and J-Dub, maybe even Chet. At minimum, there's two of them on the court that provide significantly better scoring compared to him.
Yeah, I think for Isaiah Hartenstein, I think one of the values of Hartenstein is he helps settle Chet into these games a little bit better. I don't think it's a coincidence that Chet's rebounding numbers have gone up a little bit since we've seen Hartenstein come back into the starting lineup. I think maybe just kind of where those opportunities come. Does it impress you? I don't know if that's the right word, Tom. Chet Holmgren plus minus has been a positive all 5 games in these finals.
All 5, not just Hartenstein, just so we're clear.
All 5 games, Chet Holmgren, only player in the series, has had a positive plus minus in every single one of the games.
I would say it impresses me, but I'm not necessarily surprised where, he's always been like a good stocks guy, steals and blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So like that just naturally creates extra scoring, combined with the volume of turnovers we've seen from the Pacers, and they do score off that a good amount. I'm impressed by it, absolutely, that he's the only player, but I'm not shocked by it.
Now, would you be more shocked by it if I told you he was the first player to have a positive plus minus in each of the first 5 games of a finals since Tim Duncan did it in 2013? Because that's the case.
In over a decade, and he's the first player, I'm trying to think, like, what would be another player that would be closer, or would be 4 out of 5 games or something along those lines?
Oh, I can tell you.
Okay.
Hold on, give me.
Because my initial would be like, listen, for as many times as like Curry has gone crazy, like I understand that defense wasn't always great from the Warriors at times in some of those games, but simply just his raw scoring could just at least keep him close to even. Would be like my initial thought.
So here's what I got for you. All right. Giannis did it through the first 4 games of the Suns-Bucks finals, which is impressive, by the way, because they lost the first 2 games of that series.
Yep.
Fred VanVleet did it through the first 4 games of the Raptors-Warriors. Rondo did it through the first 4 games. Okay? I should have said as a starter. Leonardo Barbosa did it through the first 5 games of Leandro of Cavs Warriors number 1. He didn't do it in game 6. So there's Derek Fisher did it through like 4 games in 2010. I couldn't go back any further than that. Now, Clay and Durant were a positive in all 4 games of the year they swept the Cavs.
Right.
But that, to me, is what makes the Chet thing that much more impressive, is that they've lost 2 of the games.
Yeah.
So
and it just speaks to, like, what's the way to reverse engineer something out of this? Like, it might be steals and blocks, just because we always get plus money of those. And if he's converting those into then scoring opportunities and the team is being successful, like, there has to be something that we could derive from that. But like, that is massive, the first in 12 years to do it.
Yeah, I would love to, it becomes maybe the first quarter stuff, right, which has been a positive for them. I say all that to say this. Chet Holmgren, better finals MVP case than Jalen Williams. Not even kidding. We'll be right back. Game Time Decisions live with you right here on a Thursday night.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're live with right here. It is Game Time Decisions. Happy to have everybody in the mix. We're with Tom Vecchio here. We've talked a lot of basketball. I do want to just kind of skip over to the baseball world for a second. And Tom, did you share in the disappointment of everyone that we didn't get Scooball versus Skeens today?
I mean, yeah, it would have been great to see. Like, that is I don't know if they play at Pittsburgh for the rest of the season, but it's something that we literally may only have once a year possibility of the two like reigning Cy Young winners to play. And what are the Pirates doing not starting him in the first game when they know Scooball is going to be starting? Like, what benefit? I understand that, like, theoretically or from a team perspective, it actually does make more sense to start Skeens in the later game because they have a higher chance to win if you have a depleted bullpen. And I believe the Tigers are going with an opener or starter, whatever they are. But like, come on, give us Skeens versus Scooball, two Cy Young winners. We never get that.
No, it's very tough, right? Because you are a man of logic, and logic says that what they did is right because it gives them a better chance to get a win. But, like, they have the third worst record in baseball. Who cares? Like,
well, I mean, obviously, they already fired the manager, whatever. I forget the guy who took over. But it's like, we don't want to say it's weird to say, like, listen, the Pirates, you have nothing to play for. What are you doing? Just start Skeens the first game to give us some excitement. Like, what else are you here to give us? Like, it's a really horrible way to frame it. I blame
Detroit more because Detroit should have done it for their crowd. Like, if you're Pittsburgh, right? Like, that's your gate, that's your revenue. You probably sell out game 2. I would imagine.
Sure,
if it's Skeens versus Scooball.
I thought about that yesterday when I saw it was announced that Scooball was still going to start game 1. At a certain point, if the Finch is the manager of the Tigers, right? The old Astros manager, if I remember correctly, is that his name, Sam? At a certain point, if Scooball's like, I'm starting game 1. That's what it is. I'm the reigning Cy Young winner. We have the best, we're 20 games over 500. Yeah. I'm starting game 1. That's what it is. And it may be a case like that where, like, pitchers have personal catchers. Like, listen, I don't care what it is. I was supposed to start yesterday. I want to start the day game so I get the rest for the rest of the day.
Yeah. I have a Scooball-ish question for you.
Here we go.
No. Right now, the 4 big awards in baseball, right? The 2 MVPs, the 2 Cy Youngs. Judge minus 10,000. Ohtani minus 600. Skubal minus 250, Skeens minus 380. All four of the favorites, basically in mid-June, are sizable favorites. Like, that is bizarre. I don't know if bizarre's that's uncommon, no, Tom? That it's just chalk like this in these awards?
It's I would say it's uncommon just because based on what we have seen, in different years. Obviously, when Acuna was, what did he do that year? 60 stolen bases, 80 stolen bases, whatever Acuna did that year. It's like, there's the possibility that he like jumps out and does that. But given the fact of where injuries lied for a lot of teams and just how the preseason spring training, my God, panned out, like we knew exactly what we were going to be getting coming into the season. And especially for Skubal, I forget what stat I saw the other day where it's like he was the first pitcher to do something since 1963 to have X amount of strikeouts in a 5-start stretch with only 2 walks or 3 walks, whatever it is. When we're getting these like up front, and then what Skeens is doing as well, he is Jacob or Skeens DeGrom, if you want to call him that, like literally out there and getting no run support. It's like, I don't want to say it's set in stone, but it's certainly looking like that. And it's not something that we have in basically any other awards market across any sport, really.
Yeah, it's just like I think back just to the NBA this past year, right? But Stephon like I know
it's
what would
different
be the big awards? Yeah, injury. But that's the thing, right? Like all these guys, clean bill of health. Like, what would be? It's so nonsensical. But if you put the 4 of them, the adjudged number moves it. It's plus 108, right? So it's still a plus money that they all win. It does suggest one of them could get pushed off the platform, but, Skubal's number says he's the most vulnerable, but Skubal also feels like he would win the vote of best pitcher in baseball award. Like,
right. The concern I always have, and I think I said this to you last year when you talked about you had a Skeens crazy ticket.
Yeah.
My concern is that they scale him back at the end of the year, right? And you start taking off innings, and then it's like, whoa, hang on, Wheeler, he's got like comparable numbers, and he has like 25 more strikeouts than him and more innings pitched, and he has this, that. It's like, and then they just kind of, I don't want to say threw in the towel for Skeens, but they're obviously trying to protect him long term. It's like, hang on, we might have to have a conversation about a different pitcher, maybe taking a few votes away from Skeens. He may still win it, but it may not be as convincing a case.
What I would say to you about Skeens this year is I think what I said to you about him last year in that context, they're not going to sit him if he can actually win the award because that matters to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Like, Paul Skeens, year number 2 Cy Young winner already. That matters for this baseball team. I still, and I know this is going to be categorized as hating, I think Ohtani is still too big of a favorite because still so far up until this point, his pitching has been non-valuable. Like he pitched 1 inning. He gave up 1 run. I'm still taking under whatever anybody wants to set the innings pitch number at. They're going to baby him smartly. Like it's supposed to be hard to win the award as a DH. And I think there's still this expectation of what his final numbers will sit at. But again, like when we had the big debate 2 weeks ago, right? Like Skubal was like minus 160 based on the fact like he is eventually going to get to where he is, and now he's up to minus 250. Ohtani's not minus. Ohtani being minus 600 is too far gone. I still believe.
I mean, we've talked about this before. It's like regardless of what I think, it will get to a certain point where I have to phrase this the right way, which we could certainly talk about as we get off air. But like the writers are like, "Hey, this is awesome. We don't see this very often. We're going to give it to him." And again, is this going to be are we going to have this conversation for the next 5-10 years?
That's my
next year he's going to be pitching from the jump. Next year he's going to be pitching from the jump. He'll never win the Cy Young, but is he just a shoo-in for the MVP? It's like, hey, like he's pitching from the jump. He'll pitch a ton of innings this year, and he'll be hitting. Maybe the hitting won't be as explosive. He has fewer home runs, fewer RBIs, and then other hitters will have better hitting numbers than him, but they're still going to give him the award.
What I think, though, this is the thing. Man, this was a debate. I remember, like, when it was him versus Judge one year, and Judge beat him. And I remember bringing up WAR, and someone was like, you can't use WAR. Ohtani doesn't play defense. I'm like, are you insane? He is supposed to break WAR because he pitches and hits. But at the moment, all he does is hit. He is comfortably behind PCA in wins above replacement. Now, Ohtani does lead an offensive war, which offense matters a lot more than defense in just Major League Baseball, right? That's just a fact of it all. But, like, Ohtani is going to have to – this is something that you and I have agreed on. He's going to have to pitch to actually be deserving of the numbers they're pricing him at. Like, pitch.
Agreed. But I also don't think he needs to be amazing. If he's just out there, they'll just give him the award. And I may not agree with it, but I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. Tom, appreciate it, as always, helping us get settled in here, talking a little MLB awards, and talking, of course, the NBA Finals. Best of luck with the slate tonight, too, Tom.
Same to you.
We got Brady Cannon joining us next with a golf tournament that may already be over. That's next right here on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Live to right here on SportsGrid, it is Game Time Decision. And the Travelers Championship is a tournament that you know who was booked as the favorite. And if you looked at the start, right, you thought to yourself, hey, maybe if Kevin talks to Brady today, he's not going to lead off with a Scotty question. And then Scotty birdied the first hole and went underneath 2-1. That's all he did. That's all he did. He at one point was 9 under. He finished as joint leader in the clubhouse at 8 under with Austin Eckroat. So, Brady, sorry for not being able to change it up, but what do you make of Scotty, who's already a minus money favorite now after 18 holes to win this golf tournament?
Yeah, when he got to 9 under, I think he got to minus 175. That was with one golf hole left to play and was already at minus 175. I don't think minus 140 is a bad price, quite honestly, Kevin. I don't think I'm going to bet him myself just yet. I might, but there's nobody else really in this field that I would bet at this point, except for Scotty. Now, if you look at what Scotty did, he was good off the tee. He was great on approach. He was number 1 in this field for strokes gained tee to green, and the putter was pretty hot as well. And normally I don't like to ride with a guy that has a hot putter because oftentimes that putter can get shaky. It's volatile. But with Scotty, it's a different animal. I trust him, and I would be okay laying the minus 140. Eckroat, not going to go there with him because he did have the very hottest putter in the field, and I can't imagine that is going to be sustainable. Then you take a look at like a guy I landed on pre-tournament, Siwoo Kim, who was very good tee to green, like top 10, top 15 in this field, tee to green, yet was 71st out of 72 players with the putter, lost almost 4 strokes to the field on the greens. So I'm just hoping that you would think the putter can't get any worse. He has to improve. If the tee to green game stays the same, he should get a lot better. That's what I'm looking for after one round. Who played really well, but the putter didn't cooperate, and vice versa. Who did not hit the ball very well, but carried a red hot putter. That's a little bit of Austin Eckroat right there. Aside from all that, yeah, Scotty, we know who this guy is. He's a great front runner. I don't have a problem betting him at minus 140 after just 18 holes in the books.
Yeah, it's really interesting because you saw some of the scores that were out there. So I was really interested in just what the straight numbers on Scotty were. His round score, I believe, was 66.5 minus money towards that under. I think it was over under 5.5 birdies. I think you were getting plus money for him to get 6 birdies or better. Obviously, cashing all of those tickets. It's one of these really interesting things, and I don't know if you know those stats off your head, Brady, but I wonder what is the rate when Scotty finishes as the round 1 leader, and then that just turns into a victorious golf tournament, right? Because that would probably sway me pretty heavily on whether or not I'm willing to challenge him. And I know it's not the biggest number we've ever seen, but Rory's at 7-1, 2 back, and it's not that long ago that Rory was entering tournaments actually booked as the favorite in front of Scotty.
Yeah, I know. And how many times has he won wire to wire, as the first round leader? And I mean, maybe it's been once or twice, but what for me, Kevin, we've seen him in the lead enough, whether it be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. He's a tremendous front runner. He's like Tiger. Tiger, if you remember his career, he didn't win a lot of golf tournaments coming from behind. He got out to the lead and stayed there. And that's what Scotty does too. We've seen the Olympics, I recall. We've seen some incredible comebacks for sure. But the PGA Championship, and that's why Scotty is such a beautiful thing to bet in game, because once you get him to the top, he doesn't often relinquish that spot. Yeah. That's why I think it's okay. I might wait just one more day, and maybe I have to lay minus 300 tomorrow, but just to kind of minimize the possibilities of him going sideways. The more holes we go through with him at the top, the more chance, obviously, he has that he's going to hang on. So if you're not going to do it today, if he's right there tomorrow, it could definitely be a good in-game situation here on Scotty Scheffler. By the way, congratulations to our colleague Mike Carver, who had Scotty Scheffler for first-round leader. And I know Mike's been doing this for 2 or 3 tournaments now, and it finally pays off. He's like, look, I'm not going to bet him to win the whole thing at plus 280 or whatever, but I'll take him to lead on Thursday at 10-1, and bang, he nailed it. So that's not a bad strategy, and it worked.
Yeah, and look, again, the golf contingent here, one of the true strengths of SportsGrid, that and entertaining people at poker events before they get into fistfights.
That was kind of cool, wasn't it? How many views did we get on that, by the way?
I don't know. I just want to know. I'm upset it was in commercial break. I just want to know like what show was on. We could have time stamped what time of day.
I thought I saw Donnie popping off about him being on there or something like that.
Yeah, well, it was a Donnie commercial, but Donnie knows how to milk
Donnie
it.
commercial. Okay.
Yeah, well,
right.
Donnie made it, but you wouldn't know, Brady, by how Donnie was talking. Donnie's like, I personally spoke with Adrian Peterson, and he was like, I was giving great information, which is just how our guy Donnie is. Look, we're going to have Brady stick around with us because we're going to talk a little bit more through some of the options. I do want to just quickly give everybody an important update, which was certainly expected, but it does come from Shams Charania of ESPN, that Indiana's Tyrese Halliburton will play tonight in the NBA Finals with their season on the line. Certainly that means he's going to start. You're seeing that spread really settle at 6. You're seeing the total uptick a little bit, 223 now in the market, and that makes a lot of sense. And again, it is why, for me, I was willing to sacrifice, as a bettor, Tyrese playing for discounted numbers. I would have rathered a 218.5, 219.5 with no Halliburton than getting 223 with an unstable Tyrese Halliburton. And that's what you're seeing because there are still people who want to bet on Tyrese in this basketball game, who is confirmed to be playing. His points prop tonight, 12.5. Still a lot of uncertainty around the Pacers star. We're going to get back to the Travelers with Brady Cannon next right here on SportsGrid.
Their team totals 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside.
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, back with you guys right here on Game Time Decisions. Just taking a look at some of the names that jump off the page, right? And we've talked through a couple. One name, though, that I'm seeing inside the top 10 and was around last week, and he's not been consistently around, Brady. Victor Hovland, T7. Yeah. I mean, we know the talent this guy has. Last week, I mean, how thrilled is he with a third place finish at the U.S. Open? He should be happy, but I think, with respect to J.J. Spawn and Burns. Maybe that was one that got away from Vic. But, I don't know, back-to-back weeks, maybe inside the top 10, that would be a big boost for this guy.
Yeah, I think probably with Victor Hovland, he's been so critical of himself and, the struggles he's had with his game. He was on top of the world in 2023, the FedEx Cup champion. And then he started tinkering with his swing and his clubs and his coach. And it's gone south really ever since. But he started to show some signs. And I think he's probably just saying, I'm getting there. I'm getting better. And this is another sign that he's getting there and he's getting back to where he wants to be. A red flag for me this week, Kev, is people saw what he did last week at the U.S. Open, and they immediately reacted to that and jumped on him here this week. He is the number one liability at BetMGM Sportsbooks, and I don't like to be on that guy. Whoever that guy is, I don't like to be in that spot because it's, not typically that the sportsbooks get hammered by the guy that everybody is picking in a particular week. Now, that being said, Scottie Scheffler is the number one in ticket count and handle. So, they've got some liability on him too. And we know how that goes. People land on the favorite, and Scottie's burned the sports books a number of times. But Hovland is a guy that I didn't want to go that direction because I felt he would be very popular. He's off to a great start. Wouldn't be surprised by a top 10 finish. I just don't know if he's going to win it. Now, Keegan Bradley looks to be in a good spot. I think Tommy Fleetwood is one of those guys that we talked about that is hitting the ball extremely well, but is losing strokes to the field with a putter. Maybe he's finally ready to get his first win on the PGA Tour. And I always want to say, the guy's won over a dozen times all over the world. He's won. He just hasn't ever won in the United States. Yeah. So don't think that that's never going to happen. He does know how to win a golf tournament. You might not believe that with what we see out of him sometimes, but you got to figure it's going to come at some point. He's too good of a player.
Is that Cam Young? I was just looking at, he's still never won on tour.
He never has, and he was another extremely popular play, Kevin. He was extremely popular for first-round leader. He was a big liability at BetMGM, and it's another guy that people are hopping on because they saw him do really well at the Canadian Open. He did well at the U.S. Open, but no, the guy, he doesn't win. He's finished runner-up 7 times in his career. I have not bet on him yet, and it's going to be a minute before I do because it's so hard to time him right. When is he going to kick the door down? I don't know if it's going to be this week. I would expect it's in more of a lighter field, not a signature event with the Scotties and the Rorys and the Morikawas hanging around. I would think it's maybe at an alternate event or, what have you, where he's playing against some different competition.
Let me get you out of here on this, Brady, and as always, really appreciate your time. Jordan Spieth withdrawing.
Yeah.
What did you make of that? Obviously was off to a really rough start.
I saw some videos on social media that it was injury. He was really wincing and I couldn't tell if it was his back or in his legs, but, he hit a tee shot and it looked like Tiger when he, struggles to bend down and stuff like that. I'm sure it's not anything that severe. I certainly hope it's not. He was playing and you wouldn't think it was anything too crazy if he was teeing it up and maybe it just, got worse or what have you. I have not heard a diagnosis just yet, but we hope he's ready in time for the British Open because I'll give you a little clue here, Kevin. I have already bet him to win the British Open coming up in about a month at Royal Portrush. What I've seen out of Spieth as of late is very promising. I think he's coming back around. He was not bad at the U.S. Open. He was not bad in Canada, or maybe it was the week before in Texas. He's been pretty good in a few tournaments leading up to the last major or what have you, this signature event. And the British Open, he's got one to his credit already. He's that type of player, that creative artistry type player that you need for an Open Championship, and he might be ready to pull that trick off again. I just hope he's healthy. He's got about a month to heal.
And in a way, right? Like you said, kind of maybe good he took that step back. Going to be an interesting Travelers to follow, though. Certainly, we'll see if Scottie is minus 300 by the time we get to 1 o'clock tomorrow. Brady, appreciate it. As always, we reset the NBA Finals with you after this break.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside.
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid. It is game time decisions. Plenty happening on this Thursday, and we're getting ready for the NBA Finals. The Thunder, a 6-point favorite against the Indiana Pacers, with the news that Tyrese Halliburton will play. The total in this one checks in at 223, upticking a little bit off of the Halley news. To help us break this down, it's Brian Fonseca. And Brian, I just want to start with the Halliburton piece of this. Are you surprised he's playing, and is the Halliburton part of this impacting how you're betting this game?
Not surprised he's playing. Is impacting my bets, though, even with him out there, because I tried to look at, okay, if he's limited, which we're anticipating, who steps up? So I looked at Pascal Siakam first, because duh. he's one of the only guys. He's one of the only guys, really the only guy on this team who could consistently get a shot off against the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder don't have a single guy who's like going to shut down Pascal Siakam, as awesome as their defense is. They have guys you can throw on and be like, okay, Jalen Williams can do a decent job. Chet Holmgren's length could be a deterrent, but Pascal Siakam has too much size for one, too much speed for the other. And honestly, too much size for Chet Holmgren too, because he's maybe 110 pounds, maybe. With Pascal Siakam, I took his over at 20.5. It's at 21.5 now. This is just points, not points rebounds. Some people are taking points rebounds as well. I took the points. I'm okay with it at 21.5. I think because he's shooting 6 threes in each of his last 2 games, 6 free throws at least in every game this series, 14 field goal attempts in every game this series, at least, except for one. And he's been getting the volume up. I think even if Tyrese Halliburton is good, like Aaron Gordon was post injury, and a lot better than we expected in that game 7, I still think they're going to need Siakam's offense. So I felt most comfortable with him specifically.
Yeah, Pascal has, positioned himself, if Indiana did the improbable, to seemingly win Finals MVP again. They're not going to, so I don't have to worry about going crazy over that, because he didn't deserve the Conference Finals MVP, in my opinion. It does remind me, though, that we are maybe inching closer to all of these awards being ruined forever for me. I bring that up for this reason, Brian. There's this conversation now that people want to have around the Finals MVP. And I understand We got to talk. I get that. But there are people who are saying that Jalen Williams has a case, that maybe he is deserving. I don't know what basketball they're watching. I'm trying to not be rude, but maybe I'm being. Do you see the Jalen Williams case for Finals MVP over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Not yet. I think so. Here's what has to happen, I think, for him to seriously win the award. And by the way, I did take a stab at plus 3,500 before the series started, just because. I felt like it was a numbers play for me. I felt like if you're the second best player on a team we all think is winning the championship, you shouldn't be plus 3,500 to win Finals MVP. You should probably be like where he is now, which is not even plus 1,000. That being said, Shai's the MVP so far. I think the way that Jalen Williams wins it, if he can get it, is he needs 2 more games. So I don't think he could do it if Oklahoma City wins tonight and he outplays Shai. I still think Shai wins that, if not 9-zip, close. But if Shai has, this is probably not going to happen. So I'm not saying this is the case. Other than the injury, if Shai gets, let's say, the next 2 games, he doesn't even crack 30, and Jalen Williams gets 36-4, 36-8-5, and he's noticeably like the closer in the game 7 or whatever. Like, he basically has to finish off considerably better than SGA does. And I do think he needs 2 more games, because if it ends tonight, I'm not sure like he's going to have enough of the resume. But I will say, like, we saw this last year with Jaylen Brown, how you finish the series matters. We saw it with Siakam also. They remember the 40-point game or whatever it was early on, but also how it ended. The closing matters. So if Jalen Williams can have a better finish than SGA, like considerably better, I think that's really his shot. But this is still SGA's award to lose right now.
Yeah, look, I actually, no surprise. It's a great breakdown by Brian in that numbers are numbers, right? Anybody who clipped the 35-1 or bigger, right? Awesome. I was getting frustrated by people who were like, the series ended today, I'm going J-Dub. Interesting, because Shai is scoring 7 more points a game more efficiently while having more assists and being more impactful defensively. Other than that, J-Dub's got a great case. Other than that, I do not want to see these awards ruined. Finals MVPs specifically matter. And I remember when the Steph crew tried to say they didn't matter for a bunch of years, and then he got his, and they were like, okay, fine, it does matter. And it did. And Tatum not winning it last year mattered. And he probably should have, but also he opened the door for that because he averaged 22 a game on 39-26 splits.
Right.
SGA is averaging 32 points per game in this series. Let's not be ridiculous about this. That's
ultimately, he's still minus 700 or whatever it is. So 650. Okay.
Yeah.
Off by 50 cents there. But he's still gonna get the award. The interesting thing to me is I have a Jalen Williams ticket and I have a Pascal Siakam ticket. The Siakam one, let me pull it up right here because I have it. 1900 when I got it. I think that was like during the series. It was either after game 1 or games 1 and 2. It was probably after 1 and 2. But I don't think, because I was like, I'm not going to bet Shai at minus $1 million. I'm just not going to do that, like on principle. But it's his award to lose. And if this goes 7, then I think there's more of a case for you look at J-Dub, you look at Siakam and what have you. And obviously Halliburton, depending on what happens if the Pacers were to win today.
Yeah, look, if it goes 7, I think a lot of things get open. I would say this. If it goes 7 and the Pacers pulled off, again, the miracle, Shai's going to still get votes.
Yes.
He's still going to get votes.
1,000%.
Because when you score, I did the active players to score 30 or more in a single finals are now Shai, Giannis, Durant, Steph, LeBron. And the only one who didn't win finals MVP was LeBron, because he did it the year they lost in 6. And he almost won finals MVP. So, I don't know. I get too angry about things that probably don't matter. But, it was one of those things.
Same.
It's why I brought it up, because I because I knew that Brian would be able to relate to that. Let me just quickly, just a look ahead thing, Brian. If we did get a Game 7, what do you expect that number to possibly look like?
Ooh, oh my goodness. Obviously, the process of Game 6 matters.
Yes, of course.
I would assume if Indy wins, it's close, unless they just shoot the lights out. I think OKC, I don't know if it's 10, but I do think it's probably in that 8-7 range or something along those lines, which would, look, I have a Pacers in 7 bet. I don't think if this goes back to OKC that the Pacers are done. They could win a Game 7 on the road. They did it last year.
They are. A tweet that made me laugh was that Halliburton's injury was like the final sacrifice, and I thought that was funny. And it just kind of does fit what has been a wild run for this team. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk a little KD, little Miami Heat, little Toronto Masai Ujiri, maybe? Right here on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Pages. Let's get lucky.
Game Time Decisions is back here on a Thursday night, and we'll reset the card for game number 6 in just a little bit. But as we get close to crowning this champion, we will then start to put our eyes on next year's champion, and whether it should or not, where Kevin Durant goes will impact those odds. I saw during this show a clip of Jake Fisher, who does some inside NBA reporting, say that if he had to make a guess at the moment, he would guess the Miami Heat. land Kevin Durant. Brian, you certainly at the minimum know people who know things around Miami Heat basketball. What do you make of everything going on with KD, especially tied to the Heat?
It feels like whatever the offers are for all the teams, it feels like that's what it is. And you heard Zach Lowe and Kirk Goldsberry talk about this even earlier this week. And Goldsberry, who used to work in the Spurs front office, the Spurs are a team and have been a team in the mix, reportedly. Now, whether or not they still are is up for, depending on who you believe and what you believe. But ultimately, the Phoenix is asking for too much, has been like the intimation, it seems like, for a lot of people, because Zach Lowe voiced this, and I've agreed with this, and based on, things that I've heard second and third hand, we'll say, I would agree, like, they kind of feel like, they being the Suns, kind of feel like they want to get back what they lost. And that's not going to happen with a 37-year-old Kevin Durant, who's not quite a free agent, but will be in a year. So kind of is a free agent right now in the modern NBA. Like, this is as close as you'll get to a big time player hitting free agency. But again, 37 post multiple significant injuries heading into year 19. I will remind people that Kevin Durant was born before the first George Bush administration. Okay. Like, he's been in the league since 2007. All right. When he was in the league, like, it was a much different NBA at that point. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, and a much different time in this country, I might add. But with Kevin Durant, it's like this is why teams are probably not, or shouldn't offer like everything. Everyone respects how awesome Kevin Durant still is to this day. He's still one of the best 10 players in the NBA, if you want to say that, like, just player for player. And it's one of the best we've ever seen in the top, I don't know, 20, 25, 15, whatever. Like, we can discuss where. But right now, you want to mortgage the future for that at this stage? Like, it's just not smart.
It's fascinating, though, to me, because the price around KD is not, it doesn't seem like anyone has to really mortgage the future to get it done, right? Phoenix is so desperate. They're not asking, hey, we need 4 first-rounders. They're like, guys, you got to get a first-round pick in there, right? Like, it seems to be negotiating from such a different point. And clearly they are very disappointed, as you said, correctly, by the offers that are out there. The offer that I keep seeing, from Toronto of the 9th pick, Jakob Poeltl, and Toronto seeming like, you tell us, do you want RJ Barrett or Emmanuel Quickly? You tell us. Masai Ujiri has been living off the Kawhi deal for years.
And the Melo one, by the way.
But Brian, like, if he's serious, if that's out there, like, that deal should be done. Should it not? I don't see that deal being beat realistically. RJ at least fits a little bit next to Devin. You're getting a top 10 pick in the whole thing. The Poeltl can start at center for them.
RJ Barrett is legitimately good. Like, people haven't watched him since he left the Knicks because he's not with the Knicks anymore. But, like, he's good. He's a good basketball player. He's one of these guys. My guy, Matt Moore, wrote this on a Substack. He thinks that RJ Barrett is kind of the next under-the-radar younger player in the NBA that could pop. Not to Tyrese Halliburton level necessarily, but, like, he gets to the right spot. And it's like, oh, maybe we're talking about he can become a fringe all-star type of dude that people expected maybe earlier in his career. Look, I think that's a great package. Going back to the Heat one specifically, like the rumored one, and the one that Ethan Skolnick and I have talked about, Ethan Skolnick, who covers the team very closely for 5 reasons, is something along the lines of Andrew Wiggins and either Duncan Robinson or Terry Rozier's expiring contract, one of those two, with the 20th overall pick in this year's draft with the future swap, and some, young player combination, because they have Khalil Ware, they have Nikola Jovic, they have Jaime Jaquez Jr., and they have Pelle Larsson. If it were me, I'd be throwing in Jaime Jaquez and Pelle Larsson. If it were the Suns, I would want Khalil Ware and Nikola Jovic. I think that the Miami Heat should actually resign Nikola Jovic and sign him to a cheaper contract that wouldn't kill you, because right now you could get him at value. And if you get guys at value, that's how you win in the NBA. And I think he's a guy that can play in the playoffs, and you sign him to a 3-year team-friendly deal, because right now he doesn't have a ton of leverage. And if I'm him, I'd want to wait because he could probably get more money later on. But if I'm Phoenix, like, that's sort of what I'm staring at. I don't know what the Minnesota package is. And I think with Houston could offer the most. But Houston also understands, and I'll go back to what Kirk Goldsberry said, because I thought it was a great point. And I agree with this. Phoenix will probably ask Houston for 5 things and take 2 or 3. And Houston's 2 or 3 could be what wins out. But if you're Houston, it's also like, we have a very young team. Do we want to add Kevin Durant to this, or do we want to hold our chips for somebody who makes more sense?
And I wonder if the Ime Udoka extension, and maybe doesn't, but I wonder if it at all gives us an indication, because I'm pretty sure Ime Udoka would trade any of them. He doesn't like the young guys. You cannot convince me otherwise. The Reed Shepherd stuff proved that. They drafted Reed third.
I think he likes Amen.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Agreed. Also, if he didn't, then like he's out of his mind, right? Like everybody loves Amen Thompson. I think he would love to have KD on the roster, but I think that the Rockets, who are very good at drafting and covet the younger players, Brian, they're probably hesitant.
I mean, Ime coached them in Brooklyn. So did Royal Ivy. So did Royal Ivy, who's on that staff, on that Rocket staff. Like, so there are reasons I think Houston should be seen as maybe the front runner, but it wouldn't surprise me if he landed in Miami. If the Clippers were to throw in Vitsa Zubac in the deal, by the way, I don't know if I'd want to do that.
Yeah, we get interesting. Brian, appreciate it as always. We'll be right back. Game Time Decisions.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis, because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers, where LA sent the message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, the Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game Time Decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions is live on a Thursday night. Do not forget that we are with you up until 8:30. In about a half hour, Coach James Young will join me. We'll get his plays. I know he's going to bet some W tonight as well, so we'll get that on the card for anybody who's going to get involved. I know there's some odds boost with Caitlin Clark playing on the slate. Here's where I am at. Best bet. It's a value play. I'm going to double check, make sure the odds are the same. But give me SGA for 7 first quarter points at minus 128. Still the same number on FanDuel. again, DK, because they don't do the pure over-unders, that same bet is minus 525. That's kind of the sell enough, I think. You see Chris there raise first 5-team total over 2.5 yard knees on the Astros and the A's. Did that Rays game start just yet? Are we live? Are we in the mix? What's the story with that? Not yet? Coming up in 10 minutes. Perfect. So if you want to get involved there, they could light up Charlie Morton. I would agree with that. I don't mind that play at all. Other action for me on the NBA tonight. And I'm approaching this game a little cautiously. The Halliburton stuff throws it off. I also think that if Halliburton was, if either Halliburton was out or had a super clean bill of health, this game would have been very easy for me. One thing we haven't talked about tonight is just the simple home court advantage, right? Rick Carlisle spoke a little bit about the home court advantage for the Indiana Pacers. Let's remember, the Thunder have only covered a road game still this whole postseason. It was by the hook, basically. Here is what Rick Carlisle said about the Pacers tonight, playing in front of their crowd for the final time this season.
You guys won a road game. They won a road game. They did their job last game, won a game in Oklahoma. And now in game 6, you have the chance to go with 7. I'm asking that because the atmosphere around this series and Oklahoma came such a big favorite.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in this position before. We were in this position last year in the New York series. We were down 3-2, and we were coming back home. And so what we need to do is buckle down, stand strong, where we should. And I anticipate one of the best crowds in the history of Gainbridge Fieldhouse. And we got to find a way. And the ultimate is to get to a game 7. That's the ultimate privilege. It's the ultimate experience in sports. But we've got to take care of home court tomorrow to do that.
And I think for Carlisle, he's right. That atmosphere, man. It's a reason I'm betting SGA. I think that it's going to be raucous. The Pacers crowd will do everything they can to lift their guys up in this spot. And it's still a Thunder team that's not shown up on the road really all that well. It's something to remember, okay? When you think about this game. Other spots for me here. SGA over 1.5 made threes. Last game he didn't make a 3. 4 straight games without 2. I think that's a nice little bounce back spot. Benedict Mathurin in the fill-in spot, okay? Potentially for Halliburton. Maybe Hallie plays, let's say, 25 minutes. That's way more minutes tonight for Mathurin. Plus 106, 11.5. And then J-Dub. I don't think he's Finals MVP, but maybe tonight instead of landing on 10 rebounds and assists, which I believe he's done 4 of the 5 games, maybe he gets to 11 tonight. I think it's a good, at even money, buy low spot. Lowest number so far of the series. Here is a little bit, by the way, of J-Dub talking about where things stand at this point in the series.
Honestly, it's a mixture of both of those. I think what helps is that we both want to win. So for me and him, it doesn't really matter who's leading scorer or who's not. I think it also helps pecking order-wise. He's the MVP. So if he wants to shoot a lot of shots, I'm going to tell him good shot every time. So that's kind of how that works. But a lot of it, too, is a result of just our offense and how, other guys play around us. And I think just how it's structured. But we don't really, go into, games and we're like, all right, I'm going to shoot 20 times and Doug, you're going to shoot 12. You know what I mean? It's just kind of taking whatever the game gives us. And I think that's what makes us a good team.
Michael Martin there with the video of Jalen Williams talking about the flow of the game for the top 2 players on OKC and really just this team as a whole. And I think for J-Dub, one of the things that's gone very under the radar about these performances, his ability to get to the line all of a sudden. Game number 1, 4 for 4. Since then, 8 of 9, 7 of 11, 11 of 11, 9 of 12. He's averaging 9.5 free throws a game, Jalen Williams. To put that into perspective, SGA is averaging 10. So, and all anybody would talk about would be the SGA free throws. It gives you an idea of one of the ways Jalen Williams has been attacking. We're going to take a quick break, come right back, live with you here on a Thursday night.
on June 25th at 7:30 p.m. Ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Live right here, Game Time Decisions. Adam Kaufman joins us, which is awesome. Adam yesterday had an unbelievably wonderful 1-2 combination of tweets around the Lakers sale. I just wanted to bring this up. I thought it was so good. Because of the Celtics sale, right? Quote tweet, followers, good stuff. Then the amount comes out. It's like $10 billion. Hold on a second now. Did you have any real takeaway there, Adam, from the Lakers ultimately being sold for $10 billion?
Well, I suppose my takeaway with respect to the number, and I had somebody say this to me off to the side, and it's a good point. Because the Celtics, everyone was freaking out when they went for $6.1 billion or whatever exactly the number was, and it just speaks to, and I'm not saying it would have added $4 billion on, of course it wouldn't have, but Lakers in part went for more because they own their own stadium. They've got their own building. They've got all the things that are attached to that. The Celtics, essentially rent from the Bruins. So it's a totally different dynamic in terms of how the financials of that work out. But look, I thought the timing was interesting for a couple of different reasons. One, the fact that Jeannie Buss has decided that, and she's going to stay on as governor, I realize, but it's time to get out of this just immediately after, again, the Celtics sale. So that was the whole mockery with the followers tweet. But I guess the bigger thing, and this is just, it's so Lakers, it's so LeBron, not that this is a LeBron thing, but LeBron does this stuff all the time. Like, that news couldn't have waited 48 hours. 72 hours. Like it had to drop in the middle of the NBA finals just to make something about them. Like if you had waited, if you're the Lakers, you're Buss, you're everybody involved. If you would wait, we're sitting here on a Thursday. I think we probably agree there's not going to be a game 7. So you wait until Friday night, Saturday, hell, Monday of next week. You got the whole week of people talking about you and only you. You could have made the whole thing about you, especially on places like ESPN that drive the conversation toward teams like the Lakers. Instead, you just kind of wedge it in between games, and I don't know. It's stupid. Again, par for the course, but just dumb.
But I do like that simultaneously. You're like, see, they made it all about them. But if they were smart, they could have made it all about them more. But like they didn't. Right. They probably knew that. I'd like to believe Lakers weren't for sale, but people are like, this has been in the deal for months. Nah. I think Gina got a call there that was like, I'm tired of this. 10B, let's go. She's like, done. Never mind. Forbes said it was 7. They were totally legitimately, and look, Boston went for $6 billion. I do think they go for more. If they were not sold and Boston's like, okay, now we're for sale tomorrow, they go for more than 6. Not 10, 7.5, maybe. I would probably say that's fair.
I don't know. I mean, keep in mind they were sold, months after, but although the announcement came almost immediately after, but they were sold on the heels of winning a championship and everybody being healthy, like not heading into a quasi, I don't want to call it a rebuild, obviously, but a restructuring or whatever exactly is going on there for Boston. So I don't know. I'm not so sure they could have driven the price up any more than they did. $6 billion is still a pretty good number. And remember, we don't know where it's going to settle ultimately for the Lakers. It's a $10 billion valuation, but that doesn't mean that's going to be the final number the organization goes for. So we'll see. But I don't know. It's it's cool as an NBA fan. I realize it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. But when the Buss family is part of the club, like the Steinbrenners in New York, right? Like it just feels weird when they're no longer involved.
It's interesting, though, and it's funny, we can get lost on this a little bit, but, like, similarly, the Steinbrenners, and maybe you're working a sneaky angle here, but people are like, yeah, maybe the whole thing's passed them by. And the same thing with the Buss family. Like, yes, they have the name, and it matters, but are they the best right now to be in position to run the Lakers and the Yankees? And sometimes the answer to that stuff becomes no. And like, there definitely was a level of rejoicement from, you saw Laker fans online, like, this is good for us, with the way the Dodgers are operating, and obviously the aprons and stuff makes that difficult. We'll see how it all plays out.
Well, I think they're excited because they're bringing in an ownership group that is going to spend. So if you're a Lakers fan, no reason to not be excited about what you have in front of you. And just in general, like, I could make this about my fandom and the Boston Red Sox being run like a small market franchise right now. That's never going to happen to an organization like the Lakers. Now, obviously, it's a different sport, so you have different salary cap situations. In baseball, you don't have one. In the NBA, there's the floor, there's the ceiling, there are the aprons, all of that. But with respect to, again, just the name and everything that comes along with being associated with the Los Angeles Lakers, they are forever going to try and have themselves in that conversation. You know what? It would be a cruel shame if it didn't work out that way. So, I'm glad that they're bringing in someone that's going to pony up the dough for, Luka's future contract and anyone else they bring in post LeBron.
Yeah, that I agree. I don't think you want the powerhouses to not be powerhouses. Right. I am not someone who, I also don't care enough. Like, Boston got rid of Devers. It's ridiculous. Sure. And everyone knows that it's the Mookie thing that makes everything feel worse. If the Mookie thing didn't happen, we could chalk the whole Devers thing up to his attitude. Sure. Right? But the Mookie thing happening is why, oh no, this is Roman Anthony actually going to be on this team for a decade? That is not supposed to be a thing for the Boston Red Sox. That's a thing for Leicester City. That's a thing for the Tampa Bay Rays, the Pittsburgh Pirates. That is not supposed to be a thing for the Boston Red Sox.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, like you said, we go on and on about this, but there's no argument for me. I mean, you're supposed to, you are just by definition in the name Boston Red Sox. And this is true of the New York Yankees. This is true of the New York Mets. This is true of the Philadelphia Phillies. This, just certain teams are supposed to rank in the top. Dodgers obviously as well. Like, you're supposed to rank in the top 5 in terms of MLB payroll just because of who you are and where you play.
Here's what we'll do, because I want to get your action for tonight, so we'll just try and do that quickly on the other side. Sure. I don't know if you disagree with this because you have the ticket, which makes sense, rooted in, or if you think his case is that strong. But do you want to make the Jalen Williams Finals MVP case?
It would. I heard you say, obviously before the break, like, he's not going to win. More than likely, he's not going to win. You showing the odds there on the screen. I think that the case is simply that the best player doesn't automatically win. And you can look last year at the NBA Finals where Jaylen Brown, not Jason Tatum, was the Finals MVP. You can look at the Eastern Conference Finals this year where Pascal Siakam, not Tyrese Halliburton, was the series MVP. So I thought with the nearly 40-1 Jalen Williams coming into the NBA Finals, it was a live ticket so long as he went out and he played well. I thought it was a better opportunity than going with either of the guys on the Pacers side, Siakam and Halliburton, simply because I believed that the Thunder were going to win the championship. So if you were looking for kind of a long shot investment, that to me made sense. The issue is, whereas J-Dub has played out of his mind and he's coming off that career game, SGA has also been awesome. So I don't know what it would take for. I'm honestly not sure. If J-Dub went out for 45 points tonight and SGA still had like 25 and 10 assists, it's not enough. It's not enough. SGA would have to, over the course of probably 2 more games, really be, just subpar. And Jalen Williams would have to carry this team to a Game 7 win for the narrative to change. I just don't think he can do enough to really move the needle, which is too bad.
It's too bad for your and others' bets, which, like, a great bet no matter what happens. And that, awesome. I truly, as someone who really cares about the NBA, am going to go insane if we now turn postseason awards into, hot take, I think the second guy's the best guy. I'm going to go, it's going to ruin the whole thing. We're going to get Adam's best bets for tonight. On the other side, quick break, we're right back with you here on SportsGrid.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. The Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions. We're back here. And I love how we're doing this because it is a game 6 of the NBA Finals. So we're kind of running through all the top guys and get everybody's thoughts for the game tonight. I know we're going to talk to Consig in just a little bit, but we have Adam Kaufman with us here. And occasionally, as one does, you get lost in a Lakers-Red Sox conversation. So ask Adam to stick around. What are you betting? You feel real confident in OKC tonight, which is certainly understandable. There's, winners of 2 in a row, favored to win a 3rd in a row tonight.
Yeah, I'm not just confident in OKC winning tonight. I would be shocked if the Pacers win this game. Now, you want to get into the whole, do you take the Pacers with the points? Do you wait for a live betting opportunity to get a better number? That's an entirely different thing. Like, to me, I'll tell you, and I kind of got screwed on this. I placed a bet yesterday. OKC, one of my bigger bets so far of this postseason was in OKC yesterday, Detroit Tigers game, money line parlay at like, I don't know, -110, -115, whatever it was. And then obviously the Tigers void out because of the rain. And so now I've just got this big ticket on just OKC money line at -250 or whatever the hell is stupid. I wouldn't have designed it that way, but that's obviously what I'm chasing here tonight. And then the Tigers, end up playing today and going and winning that game that they would have played yesterday. But anyway, I don't want to lay the points with OKC. I do think if I was choosing, like how would you do it if you are leaning into the spread? It is the Thunder. That is the direction that I would go. I would prefer, and I've been doing this for multiple games now, to just wait for a better live number on the Pacers. If we get this thing to 10.5, 11.5, something like that, that would be a buy point for me, thinking that, they're not going to turtle, go away, and just wave the white flag. They're a pesky, frisky team that hangs around and doesn't quit, and I admire them for that. And plus, they of course are in their own building, which does matter. I just think, and a lot of this confidence held betting bravado comes from the fact that I don't think that they can do it without Tyrese Halliburton. Now, I agree with what you talked about earlier, that less Halliburton means more Nembhard, and I would invest in Nembhard overs. I'd probably go over on points plus assists for him and look for a combo there, which is exactly what I would do, by the way, for Jalen Williams again. I know we were talking about his MVP case. I don't want just tackle points. I'd go points plus assists for J-Dub, thinking that he's going to continue to get the work because SGA is going to continue to take the pressure off of him and, draw on some double teams. On the Pacers side, I think you have to continue to play overs on Pascal Siakam, whether it's points or PRA, points, rebounds, assists, because we have seen for multiple games now that the most efficient offense for Indiana runs through him, plain and simple, and he has been delivering, which he did not consistently do throughout the regular season, but at the biggest time of the year when he has to, he is. So that is somebody that I would look at. And the other just, it hasn't hit every game. In fact, it's lost in a very cruel manner a couple of times, but I keep playing it, and it did hit last game, and I really like it. We're getting the best odds of the series on it, is on FanDuel, each team to score at least 20 points in every quarter of the game. You can get in the vicinity of -135 if it hasn't moved off of what I saw a little bit earlier. That's when I bought in. I mean, at the beginning of the series, Kev, that was like -190. But then this offense has, dwindled considerably compared to expectation throughout the series, and we're just getting a much better number on it. And so I would continue to invest in that. Again, hit last game. I think there's going to be enough offense in this one, both sides, for it to hit again.
All right, fantastic. Adam Kaufman helping us out. Adam, we appreciate it. Getting set for the NBA Finals. Best of luck with that action. Let's get Dave Sharapan in the fold here. Consig, it's always good to get you in here when we have these question marks around availability and how people are reacting to numbers. Earlier, DRS and I were doing Moneyline, and he felt the number was baking in a potential Halliburton absence. I didn't necessarily believe so. We're seeing 6, a 5.5 maybe appearing. What are your thoughts on how they're treating the side? And also, that Thunder hat, big-time improvement, let's be honest.
Hi, I got the other one here just in case, but you never, in the history of me doing the shows with you, besmirched the hat more than you did that one. So I said, I will go to the other one. I hate to say it. But believe me, you came right at me with it. So you put up 4.5, take a bet and see if that's what they lay. If they do, he's not playing. I mean, at least that's at that point, the information that you have to jump it up. So you get up to 6.5, which was the peak, and boom, the news comes out today, and it's like, okay, you show him getting off the elevator. He's walking in with that, sweatsuit on. He's ready to play.
Yeah.
What do you expect? I don't know, but from the book, you take the bet on the way down. This is perfect. Two-way action on a game that, I wore black because it's the end of the season for the NBA. I mean, this is it. It's over. It's done. OKC's winning the game. I don't know if they're covering the 6 or 6.5. but it's over, Kev. I mean, I know you won a Game 7. We all won a Game 7. There's not going to be a Game 7, Kev. Ain't happening.
You know, Dave, it's tough because if this game, I've said it, if Halliburton was healthy, I'd be pushing back. I'd be pushing back. You know that.
100%. Yes.
Or, and you and I have talked about this spot so many times, if he just sat out and we could have just got the 9, I think we would have got 9. If we would have, now?
It would have tipped over 7. Would have tipped over
easily.
7. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it would have got to 9.
We were seeing 6.5s when Halliburton was healthy in
You got this guy prepping over there? Is that what he was doing?
Yeah.
Oh, baby. He's not mic'd up yet, is he? Is he wound up? Mic'd up?
Just don't let him out the cage just yet. All right, we got our guy at 8 o'clock sharp. All right.
Yeah.
I feel like here's the thing, and this is what we do. When we get lost in these debates that never matter, I feel like I'm nuts for thinking that I was going to get +9 if Halliburton missed this game. Everyone's like, 7. It was 6.5 in Game 4 when he was healthy.
Yeah, no, you would have got over 7. I think 8 would have been the stop point. Like somebody, I would have been waiting for somebody to come in and grab a limit play at 8. So,
okay, and you think they would have?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 8 is a good number. 9 is even better. Yes.
10?
You come waltzing in and taking 9. No, you're not getting 10. No.
Why not? One little 10.
Yankees get 10 runs today?
Well, they scored more runs today than they did in the last 6 games combined. We've been holding some crystal balls. We're waiting for Dave for these. You're going to love it. It's next. On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid. Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face, and after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a +340 price.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Here's how I see it. I definitely went under my first quarter points prop of this show, but I feel like I bounced back in a big way. I feel like we're in a nice rhythm. I think I've been lifted up by them, by those around me. So a shout out to Tom, Adam, Fonseca, Brady, and of course our guy Consig, and we've got Coach right around the corner. I've waited all show for the crystal balls, all show. Usually we'll throw them out there. I said, you know what? No, we're gonna wait. Consig, we'll go because you know how these guys are. Casino Chris, Sam Yarnell. They're going football over-under, NFL. McCaffrey for 950.5 yards, over.
Okay. Yeah.
And then Burrow over 33.5 passing touchdowns, over. Of those, do you have a strong take on any?
Why is it always me against Sam? I feel bad. I feel bad. Like I want to take Sam's side once in a while, but I can't on that one.
Right.
Because of the injury factor. I mean, you got to worry about that all the time.
You got to be careful. You got to be careful.
Burrow's going to have a good season. So I like Casino Christmas spot. I mean, that looks pretty obvious. So, again, I think they're the second best team in the division. Over on LSU.
All right, so let me explain this.
How did that get in there? That's just Kevin.
It does. Now let me explain myself. All right. I've learned a couple things I've learned from the smart people that I hang out with. Right. And one of the lessons is, listen, K-Dub, the losses are going to hurt. But when you get one of those wins that you don't deserve, you better, back of the brain. All right. Dave, did you watch LSU Arkansas last night?
Why didn't they turn a double play?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I had LSU's team total over 4.5. So as far as I can tell, you had to get the lead man at third base. As far as I can tell. Dave, that was a tough ball out in left field. There was what was that kid supposed to do other than go like this and let it bounce off his shoulder? So, to me, crystal ball, I'll tell you right now, I don't know what the number is. It's not out. I'm going to bet the LSU team total game number 1 College World Series against Coastal Carolina. Whatever it is, we're going to be there. I owe them that. Wow. Don't I owe them that, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, the gambling gods are fickle like that. I mean, you certainly can't go under. I know that. I mean,
no, that would be crazy.
The complete reverse would be terrible. So, yeah, roll it over.
We're not
another
zagging.
One.
We're not zagging.
Yankees won today, broke that losing streak. The Nationals won today, broke that losing streak. The Mets currently lead the Braves. Will they break that losing streak?
I just want to know, what are the odds of two teams that haven't been swept all year, both being from the same state, and then both getting swept for the first time at the same time, and then both about to be swept like into the next series? Like, I'm sure that went well for the books. Dave, can I give you something up your alley?
Yeah, let's go.
SGA, first quarter points.
Oh, yeah.
All right. FanDuel, 6.5.
What's the number? Ooh, I was going to say
128.
Wow. To the over. To the over. Minus, right? Okay.
Yeah. So DK doesn't do unders in that market. Their number is 10.5 at minus 120.
What?
Would you like to know what It's minus 525 for 7 over on DK. Principal play, Dave.
That's an absolute principal play. The number's light. I mean, this is light. First number popped in my head was 8 or 8.5. So
good number.
Depending on what I wanted to do with the juice. So, boy, I like that. I like that. Koski, this looks good. Wow, this looks GTD's Crew's best bet might be a sweeper tonight.
Whoa.
That looks pretty strong. I don't want to put that on anybody, but man.
No, but here's the thing about that. Look at the smiling. This guy. I can't. This guy. Yeah, Dave get on the show, be like, hey, listen, man, just keep your eyes. But if the Rays get 3, all right, that Astros A's game could be snooze fest. Just be careful. That's a be careful special. Don't dip your toe too deep in that water, man. Oh my goodness.
No, that game should go over easy. The baseball game,
should.
I like that team
it should.
2.5. It might be 2 after 5, and then they'll score 6 in the 7th.
Yeah,
that's the.
Hey, were you upset about no skiing school ball?
Baseball-wise, it would have been great to see, but the Pirates are still trying to win a game.
Yeah, never mind.
Right?
I can't believe I almost forgot. What would you have made the total?
6.
Yeah, but think about it. They're betting under at 6, aren't they?
Oh, 5.5 would have been too much. We would have gone. We would have gone a half too far. 6 under a quarter. Come and bet it. Come on, let's go. Go Thunder!
All right, my man Consig. We got Coach up next right here on SportsGrid.